Tonight, I'll be refuting to the claim of fact that people depend on domesticated animals to help sustain human life. Her secondary claims were humans would still be in the hunter-gatherer stage were not for the domestication of the animals. 2, animal byproducts such as meat, milk, and eggs contain nutrients essential to the human diet. And 3, animal research has led to dozens of medical breakthroughs benefiting humans. In response to the first claim, it is a fact, not a claim of fact, that we were able to evolve from the hunter-gatherer stage due to the domestication of animals, and therefore there isn't much argument to be made there. But one interesting point that she made is, according to Peter Cheeky, over 50% of the world's land worth is based on draft animals, 240 million cattle and 60 million buffalo. But that is a lot of domesticated animals, and it's actually becoming a big problem. The reason why we have so many is because of the growing demand for fast food. Due to the high demand of fast food, deforestation areas throughout the world, such as South America, has increased at a rapid rate in order to create more cattle grazing land. And deforestation negatively affects the world by contributing to global warming, the loss of wildlife, and plant species. Next, I'd like to skip to the third secondary claim, which is animal research has led to dozens of medical breakthroughs benefiting humans. I thought that this was a completely separate issue, but in response to it, as technology gets better, there's a lot of medical advances, and as a result, we become less dependent on animals. For example, she states pigs provide us with heart valves, skin grafts, and condoms. But there have been large medical advances. For example, the creation of artificial heart valves that are more reliable, they're safer, and for some people, they're even cheaper. Condoms are now made with latex, and they're affordable. And spray on skin is superior to skin grafts in that they are virtually painless, reduces scarring due to faster healing processes, and can cover larger portions of the body in comparison to the skin grafts from pigs. Additionally, she also states that animal research has led to the creation of various vaccines, but ironically, despite animals helping create vaccines, they are also the source of the majority of diseases in the world today. According to a study done by Times Magazine, 75% of all 21st century diseases originated in animals, including HIV, AIDS, SARS, and the flu. And most recently, in 2009, is the H5N1 avian flu virus, or bird flu, which spread from wild and domestic birds to humans. Her third point is that dogs are, they act as like rescue and police animals, and they help the blind, and they're compassionate. Yes, although dogs are compassionate and useful, they are not necessarily, or they're not a necessity for human beings. We can adapt and survive without them. Now I will be going back to the secondary claim, which is this is where I felt the argument was at, and where it had the most controversy, and where I thought the claim of fact should have been based upon. It is animal byproducts such as meat, milk, and eggs contain nutrients essential to the human diet. Animal byproducts may be essential for third world countries that have no other option but to eat everything produced by domesticated animals, but in America we are not restricted to these same confinements, and there are millions of people who use alternatives for animal byproducts and are very much healthy, like vegans or vegetarians. And she states that we have adapted to prefer high energy diets such as fats and sweets, but just because we have adapted that way does not essentially mean it is essential to the human diet. And some evidence used for this was the statistical data comparing the digestibility of plant and animal protein, in that the digestibility of plants is usually less than 80% in comparison to the animal protein, which is 92 through 100. But however, this data was published in 1991, 20 years ago, and according to an ABC News report in 2009, animal protein is only slightly better, and the difference between plant and animal protein is so small that it doesn't even matter for most people. And the exception for most people, the exception is that if you are a professional bodybuilder. Additionally, plant protein is more beneficial for people with high cholesterol, as it lowers one's LDL, which is basically your bad cholesterol. Next, she states milk and eggs alone are nutritionally significant to a healthy diet. I can't deny that milk is significant to our diet as it is a good source for calcium. However, eggs are not and the reason, one of her main points that she says that eggs are essential to our diet is because they have omega-3 fatty acids. And that's not significant because humans can find a lot of different alternative products that have omega-3 fatty acids, such as tofu, walnuts, flax seeds, canola oil, and soybean. She further states that soy reduces calcium absorption up to 20% and aids in osteoporosis. Again, this data was taken from, was recorded in 1991, and in most recent studies done by the Minnesota Soybean Research and Promotion Council, by adding soybeans or soy foods to one's diet, it reduces the risk of osteoporosis because soy foods are rich in calcium. Soy proteins help conserve calcium in the body and protect the strengthened bones. Lastly, there are plenty of people who don't survive on animal byproducts and are healthy, for example, vegetarians. The American Dietetic Association has acknowledged that vegetarians are less at risk for chronic diseases such as heart disease, cancer, obesity, high blood pressure, and adult-onset diabetes. So in this sense, I don't see how domesticated animals are necessary to sustain human life. Thank you.
All right, the advocates' points were pretty well laid out. I thought it was interesting that you talked about the first and the third points first, but it was pretty clear that that's what you were going to do. You're diminishing those and suggesting that, in fact, there really isn't any conflict on a couple of those points, or reducing the significance of any of the conflict on, like on that second point. And I thought you did a very good job on talking about both of those things. Most of your direct refutation had to do with the second point, and I thought you did a pretty good job on that. On all three points, you need to be a little bit more consistent about citing your evidence. You made a lot of claims about some of the things that you were talking about, but I didn't hear much citation of evidence. I heard a little bit more on the third point when you were talking about some of the, like the amino acids or the omegas that were necessary from eggs versus the alternative sources, and some of the other things concerning the HDL levels in the plants. So I thought that you did a little bit better job citing the evidence on that third point, but primarily it was in the second half of the third point. So you need to, I guess, the second half of the third point, which is actually the second point. Don't want to get too confused on that one. All right. Thank you, folks, very much.